Since the establishment of Thunder Typhoon Sect, this Thunder Wind Canyon has been its domain. When Thunder Typhoon Sect's reputation was not well known, many sects took a fancy to this treasure and tried to capture it, but none of them succeeded. They all became the stepping stones of Thunder Typhoon Sect's fame. In this process, Thunder Typhoon Sect grew with a snowball speed, and eventually become one of the two giants of Shadowed Star. Thunder Wind Canyon is surrounded by poisonous miasma all year round, and it is difficult for outsiders to approach it. It is the natural defense of Thunder Typhoon Sect. When the disciples enter and leave, they also need to take a special antidote pill in advance, or directly use the Space Law formation. Otherwise, even the Saint King realm would not be able to withstand the power of the poisonous miasma. From weak hands and feet, the Saint Yuan function not working properly, and from the poison to the ground, instantly killed. This is also the biggest reason why Thunder Typhoon Sect can stick to this place. In addition to this natural barrier, it is rumored that there are countless large and small restriction formations in Thunder Wind Canyon. Anyone who dares to intrude will definitely die. Although Xianxia had warships to rely on, he did not dare to take it lightly. Thunder Wind Canyon was different from Battle Sky City. After breaking in, it would be difficult to get out. So after the battleship passed through the range of the natural poisonous miasma, Xianxia ordered his people to slow down a lot, and while inspecting the surroundings, he moved forward vigilantly. But what surprised him was that passing this way, they did touch any restriction formation, and even a living person cannot be seen. Under the shroud of spiritual mind, the situation within a radius of 100 miles has nothing to hide. The huge Thunder Typhoon Sect was actually empty, and it seemed that everyone had already evacuated early. Xianxia frowned. Xiyun also has an incredible look. Although she and others were as powerful, captured the Battle Sky City and destroyed the Battle Sky Union, demonstrating the brilliance of the High Heaven Sect. But Thunder Typhoon Sect is also a long-established sect. There is no reason to retreat without a fight. To give up this ancestral foundation that has been occupied for tens of thousands of years. What courage should it have? What prestige should it have? Only then can the entire sect disciples obey their orders. Fangpeng, it seems more difficult in Kuzhong. Xianxia thought about it. Xianxia, Thunder Typhoon Sect actually withdrew ahead of time. What are we going to do? Qiantong looked speechless. He thought it would be the same scene as last time. This time must go through a hard fight, but I don't expect to have such a situation. Interesting. Xianxia sneered. The foundation of a sect lies in the people, not the foundation. As long as the disciples are kept alive, there will always be a chance to make a comeback. Fangpeng clearly understands this truth. High Heaven Sect fist hit the cotton, making people feel aggrieved. Since we're here, there is no reason to come back empty-handed. Destroy Thunder Wind Canyon for me. Xianxia snorted coldly. Since Fangpeng doesn't want this 10,000-year foundation, we don't need to keep it for him. Sufficient. Qiantong's mouth twitched. After the order was passed, the crystal cannon continued to shoot out, and as the battleship progressed, it razed everything it passed. The violent rumbling sound has not stopped since the beginning, and many buildings of Thunder Typhoon Sect have also been turned into powder under the crystal cannon. Leisurely, Xianxia's expression moved, revealing a look of suspicion, and his divine consciousness probed in a certain direction. There was a not-so-weak energy fluctuation. It didn't feel like a secret treasure, but it was like a large number of saint crystals piled up together. Did Thunder Typhoon Sect leave in a hurry, or is it a trap? However, no one dislikes the fact that there are many saint crystals which can produce such a strong energy fluctuation. That saint crystals are probably in the hundreds of millions. Such a number is also a lot of wealth for Thunder Typhoon Sect. There are some things over there. I'll go and take a look. Xianxia stood up. Sect Master, be careful of trap. Xiyun frowned. It's okay. Xianxia grinned. It's for sure that there is a trap, but I want to know exactly what Fangpeng is playing. You all stay in the battleship, and I will come as I go. With that said, Xianxia had already rushed out of the battleship, shook his figure, and ran towards the place where the energy was coming from. In a short time, Xianxia had already arrived in front of a palace, and under his spiritual mind, he found a clear view of the internal situation. It was empty, with only some tables and chairs, but under the palace, there was a secret room, and in that secret room, there were countless top-grade saint crystals stacked. There are indeed hundreds of millions. Of course he didn't want to let go of such a huge wealth. The art masters were bold and didn't shrink back. He walked straight into the palace, fumbled for a moment, found a secret door at a corner of the palace, and went straight down. After a while, Xianxia had already arrived in the secret room. He looked around and couldn't help but lit his eyes up. After making sure that there was nothing suspicious around him, he waved his hands and installed the saint crystals into the space ring. At the same time, there is another secret room in the vast land under Thunder Typhoon Sect headquarters. At this moment, there are 5 elders sitting in the middle of the secret room. Each of these 5 people has white hair and beard, and looks extremely old. It seems that they have experienced endless wind and wave, and there is not much vitality left in their bodies. But these 5 of them, each of them is a powerhouse of the third order void return stage. The 5 people are located in the 5 corners. In the middle, there is a pre-arranged formation. The formation is very mysterious, and it seems that there is a dangerous aura. They were silent, and all of them were hidden and invisible, sitting there as if they were 5 corpses. But the moment Xianxia walked into the secret room, the 5 people seemed to feel it, and all opened their eyes. "Here he comes," one of the yellow-faced old men murmured. "He is indeed here, very courageous." The other old woman nodded slightly. "Since he's here, let's do it." The third person said lightly, "Battle Sky Union is unable to resist the Void King grade battleship, and my Thunder Typhoon Sect should not be able to resist it as well, but wanting this 10,000 years of foundation. I don't know if he have enough life to take it. There is a 10-square mysterious dark formation, presumably he will have no life to enjoy it. Don't talk too much gossip, junior sister and brother. It is an honor for the old man to meet and know you over the past few hundred years. Now it's time for us to separate. I hope you all go well," the old man with yellow face said again. He seemed to be very prestigious and said it. The others also looked solemn. The old woman looked at him. A smile appeared on her face. "Senior brother too." A little bit of memory flashed on the old man with yellow face, but soon, his expression persevered, and he said softly, "Open the formation." The voice fell. He frantically urged his Saint Yuan. "Pour into the 5-corner array in front of them." The same is true for the other 4. The 5-cornered array suddenly burst out with dazzling light. With the increase of light, the lines of the large array began to rotate as if they had become alive, turning faster and faster. And as the big formation turned, the faces of the 5 people turned pale in an instant, and the little vitality that had been left behind was passing by. This big formation seemed to not only absorb their Saint Yuan, but also absorb their vitality. There was a muffled shout, and the 5 tried their best. Slowly, the big formation trembled, and the rapidly rotating formation got out of its place, rushed straight up, and disappeared into the mud in the blink of an eye. Seeing this scene, all 5 of them smiled, but they were also limp on the ground, all of them thin and skinny, as if they were not long in the world. At the same time, in the secret room full of saint crystals, Xianxia's movements paused and frowned. He was uneasy at this moment. Before the thought turned around, a strong energy wave suddenly came from under the feet, and then a huge formation flew out from below, directly covering the entire secret room, and the formation pattern seemed to be the strongest. The iron bar turned this secret room into a cage. Violent energy fluctuations spread from all around, and dazzling rays of light blasted out from under countless saint crystals, and the feeling of palpitations swept across. Xianxia seemed to be aware of it, and with a sudden wave of his hand, he swept away countless saint crystals, revealing a half-human red crystal stone that was covered under the saint crystal. At this moment, the red crystal stone was emitting dazzling red light. That violent energy fluctuation is also transmitted from within it. Mysterious crystal. Xianxia's eyes jumped wildly, and he shouted clearly, "So that's it." Thunder Typhoon Sect spent hundreds of millions of saint crystals to arrange such a secret room. Even if people understand that there is a trap, they have to jump in. After all, people have greed. But once he entered this place, he fell into the trick of Thunder Typhoon Sect. The previous formation was not harmful, it was just a restraint, trapping oneself here, and the real ultimate move was these mysterious crystals hidden under the saint crystal. This kind of thing is also considered a rare thing. The internal energy is extremely unstable, and it will burst out with a slight touch. Generally, it is not very useful, and because it is rare, it is rarely used by cultivators. It is difficult for Thunder Typhoon Sect to find such a large piece from where he found it, and more than this piece. Under the cover of those saint crystals, at least 4 or 5 places showed red light. This kind of energy riot, even if the Void King Realm powerhouse came here, they would not necessarily able to endure it, let alone Yonkai. Thunder Typhoon Sect really deserves its name. During the change of thoughts, the red light became more and more violent. The next moment, a violent crackling sound made the world tremble, and the whole secret room disappeared for an instant. The red beam of light that pierced the sky sprayed out from the ground, rushing into the sky, and the headquarters of Thunder Typhoon Sect also turned into ruins in the fierce explosion. The aftermath of the impact swept around, and wherever it passed there was flying sand and rocks, and the sun and the moon were dull. Inside the battleship, dozens of miles away, everyone was stunned and their eyes trembled. Even Xiyun was eclipsed. Fortunately, her temperament was still tough. Seeing the terrifying aftermath approaching the battleship, she hurriedly shouted, "Full protection." Soon, a film-like shield was added outside the battleship. The wind was violent, and the aftermath of the burst engulfed the battleship, and the huge force rolled it up and slammed into the mountain wall beside the canyon. Inside the battleship, everyone was unsteady on their feet, and with a look of horror, they urged the Saint Yuan to protect them by offering secret treasures. To be continued.